You know when you do something really messed up and you kinda keep it to yourself? You know, something that might ruin your life or somebody else's life? Welcome to Reddit Confessions with your host, Sir Richman. Today I'm going to react to posts from reddit.stories_. Shout out to them. And I'm going to see if I can listen to the horrors of the internet. Let's have some fun. Viewer discretion is advised. First one.
I fucked a sex offender.
Okay. We are starting off strong.
So when I was 19, I was a legal assistant at a local law firm.
Okay.
The attorney I worked for was well known in the hood because he had beat a few murder cases. I knew all the cases of the clients we had, and I had access to their criminal records. I got a call from a client who my attorney had handled many cases for. He immediately recognized that I must be a new legal assistant because I didn't sound like the old one. When I explained to him I was new, he told me he and the attorney went way back, but he had a new drug distribution charge he needed representation for. He gave me his information. I looked him up in the system, and saw that he had a rape charge from when he was 21.
Oh,
he
wow.
was 40 at the time of that call.
Wow. Yeah, that's a tough one to kind of expunge.
I got a little freaked out because although I had met murderers, I hadn't, knowingly, met a rapist aside from one who abused me as a minor.
Oh. This story just thickens and thickens.
I ignored the rape charge and continued on with his present request. The day he was supposed to come in for depositions, I had a photo shoot for a magazine for my university, so I was dressed up really nice and looked much older than what I actually was. When I saw him, I was immediately attracted and I could tell the feelings were mutual. We flirted a little and made small talk until it was time for the depositions. While he was deposed by the attorney in a separate room, I took a deep dive into his rape case and learned that when he was 21, he had sexual relations with a 16-year-old who told him she was 18. It happened in his
Man. That's why you always check the ID. Always. That's like rule 1, dude. Come on.
car, and when the police caught them, the girl told the police he wanted to pay her for sex. During the cross-examination, she confessed that she told him she was 18. The state offered him a plea deal of 25 years probation and registering as a sex offender with no prison time. He took the plea deal. When he came out of depot, he asked me for my number. Knowing my attorney knew my age and was nearby probably listening, I said no thank you. I shouldn't. This is my workplace. He then asked me for a retention contract to fill out and whispered to me to text him on the number he wrote on the form.
Oh, boy,
I took a
man.
picture of the form and texted him that night. We talked on the phone for a couple days and I told him I was 27. We were both consenting adults, but I was afraid he would reject me if I told him my real age.
Man, come on. Why you guys keep on lying? Come on. Lying never helps anybody.
Got a hotel room and told him to meet me there because I wanted him. Best sex of my life. Literally. It has been 4 years. I recently got married, and I still think about sex with a sex offender. We saw each other a couple more times but I eventually had to ghost him after I got a new job because feelings were growing and I couldn't keep up with the lies I told him. Plus,
This comment. Nah, that's crazy. Oh, wow. Wow. Good thing these confessions are anonymous, because that would be crazy.
my sister's husband tried to get with me.
How did these situations even happen? I didn't know that these even are a thing that could happen.
This is something that's been ongoing for over 4 years and I am at my wit's end with the entire situation. My sister and her now husband are 7 years older than me. They started dating when I was about 14, making both of them 21.
Oh, see, that's the worst. If you knew the person when they were like really young, that's like grooming, I think. I don't know. What am I, a fucking doctor?
I am very shy and reserved, so I usually don't take to new people well, so it was surprising when I first met sister's now husband and we hit it off great. Over the years he became like a brother to me and the three of us would often go out to dinner, movies, trips out of town. We spent a lot of time together. Even when they had a short breakup he would make an effort to come see me to get dinner or whatever.
No. Why? That you should not even be doing that. If the sister broke up with the boyfriend, okay, or whatever the hell he was at the time, the boyfriend should not be hanging around with the sibling of the sister. That's just wrong.
During this time I got my first boyfriend who was always very put off by my sister's now husband. Let's call him A for the
I wonder why.
sake of this story. I questioned why and my boyfriend told me he got a feeling that A was into me. I thought he was
Wow. It's almost like us dudes can just see it.
crazy because this man is like another brother to me. I brushed it off and things continued as normal. A couple years later my sister and I got engaged and I was so happy to officially have him as part of the family. I was so excited for them. At this point I was about 19 and was pretty new to the whole dating thing and got around quite a bit. I went through boyfriends pretty fast and was defeated seeking male validation after things went horribly sideways with my first boyfriend. I eventually met someone I really liked and literally thought he was the man of my dreams. Well, that all went to shit with what happened next.
Oh boy.
I went to my sister and A's house to hang out with them one night. This was in 2019 when I was 20 years old. As soon as I got there they had already been drinking and offered me some, so I joined in. The night was going really well, we were talking about our jobs and I recommended my sister
Nothing goes wrong when alcohol is involved.
to come work at my job since they take care of their employees really well. She asked me to put a good word in with my boss and I told her I would. We played a drinking card game and some Mario Kart and that's when I blacked out. The next thing I remember was waking up on their couch and I felt so sick. It was probably around 2 a.m. at this point. I made my way to the one bathroom they had at their house to try and get everything out. But no luck. I was sitting next to the toilet when A walked in and apologized as he thought nobody was in there. I told him it was okay, I just wasn't feeling well. He responded by saying he hadn't realized I had drank that much, which I thought was odd as he had been making my drinks all night. Vodka lemonades. He sat down next to me and started rubbing my back, which I
This just seems so wrong. Ugh. I feel wrong listening to these stories. And evidently they're true. Is that's all we have to assume, is that they're true.
didn't think anything of because I would expect my actual blood brothers to do the same. But it got weird when he slipped his hand up the back of my shirt and started rubbing my back that way. I looked up at him and he kissed me. I immediately stopped him and asked what he was doing. And then he started to word vomit that he's always had feelings for me and these aren't feelings
Hey, I had feelings for you ever since you're a minor.
that are just going to go away. I asked him what was wrong in his relationship that was making him act this way and he said his relationship had never been better. The weirdest part was when he said, it might sound weird now but I've always thought of you as a little sister and I've wanted to have sex with you since you were 6.
Oh! That's a pedo. That is a pedo. I knew it. I called it.
16. I literally never expected this from him. He was a brother to
7 years older, which would have put him at 23.
me. Next thing that happens is he pulled down his pants and kissed me again. I pull away and I can hear my sister outside the bathroom. So I walk out and he follows. She didn't even question anything. I was in shock and laid back down on the couch. She asked him to come back to bed and he said he needed to deal with the dog.
No.
He then comes back
Come
over to
on.
me and asks me to come outside with him. I ask why? And he says so we can fuck. I told him I'm not doing that and that his fiancée is waiting for him in the other room. He literally scoffed at me and finally left me alone. I left the next morning and that was the last time I ever saw either of them. I talked to my oldest brother, let's call him M, a few days later to tell him what had happened and what I should do about it. We came up with a plan to get together with our sister and tell her 2 days later. But the next day while I'm at work he calls me and says our sister is on her way to his house ATM and he's going to tell her. I obviously couldn't up and leave my job to join and so he did it without me, which now looking back was a huge mistake. After he told her, she asked him to tell me to not reach out to her and that she'll talk to me whenever she's ready. I respect that because I understand this is a shocking thing to try and process. She stayed with my brother for about 2 weeks and then went back home to A. I later found out that A blamed it all on me. That I made a move on him and that he froze up when it happened, which is so far from the truth.
Man.
Something I haven't mentioned is that I, and many other people that know my sister, believe her to be a narcissist. She literally thinks she is a goddess and that she can never do anything wrong.
Oh wow, things just keep on getting better and better in this story.
My sister and A did end up getting married and still to this day believes that I instigated this entire thing.
She ended up marrying the dude? That's insane. Okay, alright. Next one.
My boyfriend traumatized his ex, is now stalking her, and I just now am figuring it all out.
See, okay. We went from bombshell to bombshell. Okay, I mean, it's kind of messed up. To bombshell.
All names changed. My boyfriend, Levi, 27M, and I have been dating around 4 years now. To make a very long story short, Levi's college girlfriend was named Lana, 25F. Between him and a group of friends of his that liked to make fun of Lana, I gathered that Lana had a mental breakdown and gained a lot of weight rapidly, the combination of that and other things leading to their breakup after 9 months. Levi's friend Nate, 27M, is still friends with Lana and recently shared with Levi that Lana had a major glow up and is doing really well now. Since then, Levi has been stalking Lana's social medias on a fake account. This includes LinkedIn and Instagram. I got very weirded out by the whole thing, and confronted Levi. He told me that he was just really proud of her, and seeing someone turn their life around so much was inspiring. I don't believe that, but whatever. If I pushed more, he'd get angry and leave me alone to play video games. I thought on it, and really wanted to figure out more about what happened between him and Lana. It just didn't make sense, and I had a feeling there was something bigger at play. I decided to contact Nate and ask him more about what was going on. I called him one day when I knew Levi would be out for a while. Nate was surprised to hear from me, but I explained the situation and he kind of just was quiet for a bit. After a bit, he told me that Lana is one of the best people he knows, and they're good friends who talk often. But she has barred him from ever discussing Levi with her, so he truly didn't know much. He said he knew that she would have panic attacks for the first few years if she heard his name or thought she saw him in public. Again, she wouldn't tell him why though. He said she essentially told him to continue him and Levi's friendship but to never bring him up with her. The only reasoning she would give at the time was because she didn't want Levi to place blame on her if he lost friends. So for around 2 years, Nate has not talked about Levi with Lana. He said he deeply regretted bringing Lana up to Levi. This conversation obviously rattled me, and I told Levi this made me want to know even more, but I didn't want to harm Lana. He agreed because if Levi was stalking Lana, he wanted to know if he needed to warn her. He agreed to ask around with some other friends and he'd get back to me. Those next few days were incredibly challenging. I noticed more and more how much Levi was sitting around looking at Lana's pages when he thought I was noticing.
This Levi dude, man, he's a creep. I don't know how people can just be so obsessed with somebody else. I don't get it.
He was viewing her stories, her Insta highlights, going back and liking old pictures,
Ooh, big mistake.
etc. all from his fake account. I even noticed that he went back in his camera roll to times of their relationship and favorites the pictures.
Why didn't he just, talk to this girl again and be like, hey, I'm sorry for all this, blah, 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 blah. Let's get back together. No. Instead, it's, I love you. Please notice me. Like.
He was getting agitated with me constantly, and kept making passive-aggressive comments to me. Maybe you could go to the gym with me. You're about due for a glow-up too. I think you'd look really cute with blonde hair. All things that coincidentally could have made me look more like Lana. Ignored it the best I could until Nate asked me to meet him privately in public. We decided to meet at a coffee shop the next day while Levi was at work. When I saw Nate, he looked like a mess. He was very clearly distressed and told me that he would officially be ending his friendship with Levi as soon as this all is over. Nate told me that he asked a lot of their mutual friends, and he got the full story after meeting up with them when they were concerned about why he was asking. To make a very long story short, Levi was extremely abusive with Lana. When they met, she did not want to date anyone, but he really pushed her on it. She eventually agreed and the first couple months were full on him love bombing her. After that though, he started manipulating her a lot. He isolated her from all of her friends. He would make her drink with him even though she never had before. If she didn't, he'd make fun of her with his friends. That led to eventually him.
Okay, somebody in the comments tell me what kind of person that is, because I don't think it's a narcissist. Is it a psychopath? I don't know. Leave your comments below.
Making her drop him off at other girls' houses and leaving bars with other women. She would express her discomfort with this but he would just scream at her for being insecure. He did cheat on her, and she eventually learned that, but he made her feel terrible for thinking it.
What is this dude's deal? This dude has some serious issues that he needs to settle down.
I do not know details, as she's never shared it from what I know, but they believe he essayed her. The only
Oh my gosh, lock the dude up. What is going on, dude? What?
proof of this is that after a night of drinking last year, they were all talking about cheating exes. Lana brought up Levi and someone mentioned he knew Levi and always thought he was a nice guy. Lana responded by laughing and saying nice guys don't essay women. The guy asked if she was sure, and she only said I'm absolutely 1000% sure, don't ask how. And changed the topic. Their friends are almost positive there was some amount of physical on top of the emotional absay, but they can't prove that. They only noticed bruises on her frequently. Nate then told me that the reason they broke up was because he stole her PS4 or something, $200 from her parents, blocked her on Instagram, screamed at her for accusing him of that, even though he admits he did block her, then sent her screenshots of his group of friends, including her best friend at the time who introduced them, in a group chat they had created to make fun of her. Nate actually cried a bit at this point. He also was told that Lana drunkenly admitted to another friend that the reason she asked Nate to not stop his friendship was because she was terrified of Levi. I guess someone else stopped talking to him, and he called her in an absolute rage saying it.
Alright, that's enough of that. Okay, I think we get the gist. Okay guys, that's the end of today's video. If you really enjoyed it, please leave a like and let me know in the comments what other kind of videos you want me to react to. Now I'm gonna go to therapy.